Hello my dear family, welcome to my channel, introducing top Ra 1 cents wheat penny worth up to $400,000. Check your pocket before spending. What if an ordinary wheat penny on your pocket was actually worth a fortune? In this video, we reveal 4 rare and valuable penny that collectors are actively searching for right now. These coins may look ordinary, but certain dates and mint marks have become hidden treasures that many people accidentally spend every day. Let's move on to our first coin. Have you ever wondered if a single penny could hold a lifetime of history? Imagine reaching into an old coffee can filled with forgotten coins, pulling out a worn copper cent, and discovering that it has survived one of the most dramatic periods in American history. The 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is more than just a coin. It is a survivor from a world at war, a silent witness to extraordinary events, and a piece of American heritage that continues to fascinate collectors around the globe. To understand the importance of the 1944 wheat penny, we must travel back to a time when the world was completely different. The year 1944 was filled with uncertainty, courage, sacrifice, and determination. Across Europe and the Pacific, World War II was still raging. Millions of people were involved in the conflict, and nearly every aspect of daily life in the United States was influenced by the war effort. Factories worked around the clock, families rationed supplies, and every available resource was considered valuable. Just 1 year earlier, in 1943, the United States Mint made a remarkable decision. Because copper was desperately needed for wartime equipment, the government temporarily replaced traditional copper pennies with steel cents. These unusual silver-colored pennies became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Yet by 1944, the nation was ready to return to copper-colored cents, creating a fascinating chapter in the story of American coinage. When the 1944 wheat penny emerged from the Philadelphia Mint, it carried no mint mark beneath the date. Freshly struck, the coin displayed a rich copper appearance and sharp details. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait stood proudly on the front, while 2 graceful wheat stalks decorated the reverse. Millions of these pennies entered circulation, but few people realized they were handling a coin born during one of the most historic years of the 20th century. Every 1944 wheat penny began a journey the moment it left the mint. Some traveled through major cities bustling with wartime activity. Others circulated through small farming communities where families followed news from overseas. These pennies passed through countless hands, purchasing groceries, newspapers, and everyday necessities. Each transaction added another chapter to the coin's story. Imagine a young child in 1944 receiving a handful of pennies for helping around the house. Among them might have been a bright new 1944 wheat penny. Perhaps that child saved it in a small collection, unaware that decades later collectors would still be discussing the same coin. Moments like these transformed ordinary cents into historical treasures. The wheat penny series had already earned a special place in American history long before 1944. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regularly circulating American coin to feature a real historical figure. The design represented a bold step forward and quickly became beloved by the public. Abraham Lincoln's image carried tremendous meaning during the wartime years. His leadership during one of America's greatest challenges made him a symbol of unity, perseverance, and hope. Seeing his portrait on a penny reminded citizens of the nation's ability to overcome adversity, a message that resonated deeply during World War II's decades past. Many 1944 wheat pennies disappeared. Some were lost in fields, dropped on sidewalks, or forgotten in old buildings. Others became worn from years of circulation. Yet countless examples survived because people recognized their historical importance. These surviving coins continue to connect modern collectors with a remarkable period in American history. For coin enthusiasts, the excitement of finding a 1944 wheat penny never fades. The moment the wheat ears appear on the reverse, curiosity takes over. Questions immediately arise. Where has this coin been? Who carried it? What events did it witness? Those mysteries are part of what makes collecting so rewarding. The beauty of the 1944 wheat penny is not found solely in its appearance. Its true value lies in the stories it represents. This small copper coin survived wartime America, traveled through generations, and continues to inspire fascination more than 80 years after it was struck. Few objects can claim such a remarkable journey. Today, collectors carefully study these pennies, searching for examples with strong details, attractive surfaces, and unique characteristics. Each coin is different. Some display deep brown tones created by decades of aging. Others retain traces of their original reddish brilliance. Every surviving piece possesses its own personality and history. Perhaps the most remarkable lesson of the 1944 wheat penny is that extraordinary stories often hide in ordinary places. A coin worth only 1 cent in commerce can become priceless as a historical artifact. It reminds us that history is not confined to museums or textbooks. Sometimes it rests quietly in a coin jar, waiting for someone to notice. So the next time you encounter an old wheat penny, pause for a moment and take a closer look. If the date reads 1944 and there is no mint mark beneath it, remember that you are holding a survivor from one of the most important years in modern history. It is more than a penny. It is a witness to a generation's courage, a symbol of endurance, and a tangible connection to a world that helped shape the future we know today. Next up. Ladies and gentlemen, what if the next time you open an old coin jar, search through a forgotten collection, or examine the loose change sitting in a dusty drawer, you discover a penny that has survived more than 7 decades of American history? What if that small copper coin, worth only 1 cent in everyday commerce, carries a story far greater than its face value? Today, we are exploring the remarkable journey of the 1950 wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin that continues to capture the imagination of collectors and history lovers around the world. The story begins in 1950, a year filled with hope and opportunity. America was entering a new era of prosperity. Families were building homes, communities were expanding, and the nation was looking confidently toward the future. The hardships of World War II were fading into memory, and millions of Americans were embracing a period of growth unlike anything they had experienced before. During this exciting time, the Philadelphia Mint was busy producing coins needed for everyday commerce, including the famous 1950 wheat penny. Fresh from the mint, these pennies displayed a brilliant copper-red appearance. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln stood proudly on the front, while 2 elegant wheat stalks decorated the reverse. Because these coins were struck in Philadelphia, they carried no mint mark beneath the date. To most people, that detail meant very little. They simply viewed the coin as a penny. Yet decades later, collectors would examine those same coins with fascination and appreciation. Imagine receiving one of these pennies in change during 1950. Perhaps it was handed to you by a neighborhood shopkeeper after purchasing a loaf of bread or a bottle of milk. Maybe it was dropped into a child's piggy bank or saved inside a family coin collection. No matter where it traveled, every penny began a unique journey that would continue for generations. The Wheat Penny series already possessed a rich legacy by 1950. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure. The decision was revolutionary. Lincoln's image quickly became familiar to millions of Americans and transformed the appearance of American coinage forever. As the 1950s progressed, these pennies circulated through every corner of the country. They traveled through busy cities, quiet farming communities, growing suburbs, and bustling industrial centers. They witnessed the birth of new industries, the rise of television, and the transformation of American culture. Every coin became a silent observer of history. One of the reasons collectors love wheat pennies is because they represent more than money. They are miniature time capsules. Unlike photographs that capture a single moment, coins move through countless experiences. A 1950 wheat penny may have crossed state lines, traveled in a soldier's pocket, rested inside a cash register, or been passed from generation to generation within the same family. As years turned into decades, many of these pennies disappeared. Some were lost. Others became heavily worn through circulation. Yet many survived because people recognized their beauty and historical significance. They were tucked away in albums, jars, boxes, and collections, preserving a piece of mid-century America for future generations. Collectors often speak about the excitement of discovery. There is something special about spotting a wheat penny among ordinary coins. The familiar wheat stalks immediately stand out. The date becomes a doorway into the past. Suddenly, a simple penny transforms into an artifact connected to real people, real places, and real moments in history. The absence of a mint mark tells its own story. It identifies the coin as a product of the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most important coin-producing facilities in the United States. For generations, Philadelphia played a central role in creating the coins that Americans carried every day, and the 1950 wheat penny is part of that proud tradition. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the 1950 wheat penny is its ability to connect generations. A grandparent may have spent one as a child. A parent may have saved one in a collection. Today, a new generation of collectors continues the search. Through this small copper coin, the past remains alive and accessible. Every surviving example carries a unique story. Some display deep brown tones created by decades of agging. Others still retain traces of their original red calque. Scratches, marks, and signs of wear become evidence of the journeys these coins have taken. Each one is different, and each one reflects a lifetime of history. The beauty of coin collecting lies in these stories. It reminds us that history is not always found in grand monuments or famous landmarks. Sometimes it exists in the smallest objects imaginable. A penny that once purchased a piece of candy can later become a treasured keepsake that sparks curiosity and wonder. Today, collectors continue searching through inherited collections, bank rolls, and old containers of change, hoping to uncover wheat pennies from years gone by. The thrill of discovery remains just as strong as ever. Every find represents another opportunity to connect with the past and preserve a small piece of American history. So before you overlook an old penny, take a closer look. Search for the date 1950 and notice the absence of a mint mark. Hold it in your hand and imagine the decades it has survived. Think about the countless people who may have carried it and the extraordinary events that unfolded during its lifetime. Because the 1950 no mint mark wheat penny is more than a coin. It is a survivor, a storyteller, and a lasting symbol of America's journey through one of its most memorable eras. Next up. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine opening an old wooden box hidden in an attic for decades. Inside are faded photographs, handwritten letters, and a small collection of old coins. Among them sits a humble copper penny dated 1951 with a tiny D mint mark beneath the year. At first glance, it appears ordinary. It is only 1 cent. Most people would overlook it without a second thought. Yet this small coin carries a remarkable story that stretches across generations and connects us to one of the most fascinating periods in American history. The year was 1951. America was experiencing a period of tremendous growth and transformation. The nation was moving forward with confidence after the challenges of World War II. Families were building homes, businesses were expanding, and communities were thriving. New inventions were changing everyday life, and a sense of optimism could be felt from coast to coast. During this exciting era, the Denver Mint was hard at work, producing millions of Lincoln wheat pennies for circulation throughout the country. Fresh from the minting presses, the 1951 D wheat penny displayed a brilliant copper glow. Abraham Lincoln's portrait stood proudly on the front of the coin, symbolizing leadership, determination, and unity. On the reverse appeared 2 elegant wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent. This simple yet iconic design had become one of the most beloved images in American coinage history. Most people who received these pennies never imagined they would still exist decades later. They were used to buy candy, newspapers, soft drinks, and countless everyday necessities. Pennies changed hands so frequently that few people paid attention to individual dates or mint marks. Yet every coin that survived carried with it a unique journey through time. Imagine one of these pennies entering circulation in a small American town during the summer of 1951. Perhaps it was handed to a child after completing chores around the house. Maybe it was received as change from a neighborhood grocery store or carried in the pocket of a factory worker heading home after a long day. Every transaction added another chapter to the coin's story. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series already possessed a rich legacy by 1951. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature an actual historical figure. This groundbreaking decision forever changed the appearance of American coinage and established Lincoln as one of the most recognizable figures on money anywhere in the world. The small D mint mark beneath the date tells us that this particular penny was struck at the Denver Mint. To collectors, mint marks are important because they help identify where a coin was produced. Every mint has its own history, traditions, and role within the larger story of American coinage. The Denver Mint played a vital part in supplying coins to a rapidly growing nation. As the years passed, the 1951 D wheat penny traveled through an America undergoing remarkable changes. It witnessed the rise of television, the growth of suburbs, and the beginning of new technological advancements that would reshape the future. Though the coin itself remained silent, it was present during countless moments that defined an era. Many wheat pennies disappeared over time. Some were lost forever. Others became worn through decades of circulation. Yet countless examples survived because people saved them. Children placed them in coin collections. Parents stored them in jars. Grandparents tucked them away in drawers and boxes, preserving pieces of history without even realizing it. Collectors often describe old coins as miniature time machines. Unlike photographs that capture only a single moment, coins physically traveled through history. A 1951 D wheat penny may have crossed state lines, passed through thousands of hands, and witnessed events both ordinary and extraordinary. Every mark and scratch represents another chapter in its incredible journey. The excitement of discovering a wheat penny never fades. Whether found in pocket change, inherited from a relative, or uncovered in an old collection, the sight of those famous wheat stalks immediately sparks curiosity. The date invites questions. Who carried this coin? Where did it travel? What stories could it tell if it could speak? Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of the 1951 D wheat penny is its ability to connect generations. A coin that circulated during the early 1950s can still be held today, creating a direct link between the past and present. Few objects possess that kind of power. Through this small piece of copper, history becomes tangible and personal. Today, collectors continue searching through old collections, hoping to uncover beautiful examples of wheat pennies. Some are drawn to their historical significance. Others appreciate the artistry of the design. Many simply enjoy the thrill of discovery. Whatever the reason, the fascination remains as strong as ever. As you hold a 1951 D wheat penny, imagine the decades it has survived. Think about the people who may have carried it, the places it may have visited, and the events it quietly witnessed. It began its journey in a busy mint more than 70 years ago and continues telling its story today. That is what makes coin collecting so rewarding. Every coin is more than metal. Every coin is a survivor. So before you overlook an old penny, take a closer look. Search for the date 1951 and the small D mint mark beneath it. You may be holding more than a coin. You may be holding a living piece of history, a connection to another generation, and a reminder that even the smallest treasures can carry the biggest stories.